here and taking time out, but a sincere thank you to the Reagan Foundation and Institute. Being at the Reagan Library is a special place. I think that President and Mrs. Reagan truly represent the best that our nation has to offer. I was born in 1980. My mom has always called me a Reagan baby, and I've lived with that, and it's truly an honor to be making my first visit here. But what they do also, I mean, right in the next, in a room adjacent to here, they have a whole bunch of high school students here doing a debate performance and debate competition. Libby Hancock from Salem Hills High School of Utah is actually performing right at the same time. We should have brought those kids up here to debate this bill as well. That would actually be pretty fun. So again, just thrilled to be here at this institution. Dr. Rauh, yesterday in our hearing in Las Vegas, I highlighted something pretty unique, and it's context and data, and I know we don't like to address that all the time, but more than half of the tax provisions in this bill, more than half, is going to two simple things: the child tax credit and the standard deduction, right? None of which are taken advantage of or can even be taken advantage of with the income caps that we put on it by the wealthy. That's not even to include all the other provisions that go directly towards middle class support. But those are individual provisions, and I wanted to just quickly ask you, there's business provisions in here too. I think some excellent commentary has been shared, but just talk to us a little bit about some of the business provisions, the pro-growth tax policies, and how those still go directly to impacting families.
Thank you very much for the question, Congressman Moore. I think the qualified business income deduction for pass-through entities, which has been discussed a lot today, is one of the key features of the business provisions that helps a broad segment of the U.S. population. You know, it was cited before, maybe this was Congressman Gomez or Congresswoman Chu, that the top 10% of taxpayers were allegedly benefiting more from the QBI. Well, you know, it's worth looking at what the top 10% of taxpayers in America actually contribute to the economy in terms of the jobs that they create. The reason that they're getting bigger deductions because they're hiring more people, they're running bigger firms. And also how much taxes they actually pay. The top 10% on the latest data earned 49% of income, but they paid 72% of the federal income tax. We already have an extremely progressive system where the top end of the distribution is supporting, through a lot of redistribution, the bottom. We're starting from a setting where the top quintile, the top 20%, are paying $120,000 net per household net into the system, and the bottom quintile is receiving $30,000 net into the system. And this bill doesn't really change those numbers in any material way.
Thank you, and that actually dovetails with my colleague from Pennsylvania, Mr. Smucker, and highlighting that we're actually still becoming a more and more progressive tax system. That's irrefutable, and I appreciate your highlight of that. Mr. Fulton and Timmons, I'm home to my district's home to Hill Air Force Base, and adjacent or surrounding Hill Air Force Base, there's a very dynamic aerospace engineering and manufacturing industry. Just share quickly how tax permanency, right? A lot of these things were tried out. Hey, we tried them out for a little while, and there were some things that went on the chopping block too that are now going to be back in as permanent. Just talk to some of these business provisions and how they're going to provide support and help to your industry with the fact that they're permanently going to be in place now in code.
Yeah, thank you for that question. What we heard from our manufacturers after 2017 was they actually made a promise. They were going to invest more, hire more, raise wages in the United States, and they did exactly that. There were record numbers for the next 3 years in those areas. But as you know, many of those provisions were temporary, and so making the provisions permanent has allowed our companies to actually plan for the future. One of the things we heard earlier this year was we heard some uncertainty among our manufacturers, especially small manufacturers who are so critical to the supply chain, say, we're not sure if we want to invest in additional capacity here in the United States, because they didn't know if this bill would actually get done. As soon as it did, you started to see much more much more confidence, especially by these small businesses, that they were willing to make those investments to grow manufacturing capacity here in the United States.
And I'll just quickly end. Thank you, Mr. Spolten. I apologize. My time's up. Section 179, small businesses can now deduct a whole bunch more. That's going to create more business activity. They're going to be paying more taxes. We're going to continue to see revenue growth. Thank you, Chairman. I yield back.